Hey everyone, welcome back to the MisterRentToOwnHomes Show. My name is Dominic Danino, aka Mr. Rent-to-Own-Homes. And today's live, we're going to be talking about how agents can market our rent-to-own program to clients that have been turned down by banks. So we're going to get into this marketing, which I love. And today I am joined, as usual, by James Brown, real estate investor, agent with EXP in Colorado. So welcome back, James.
Thank you.
All right. So marketing, right? So I've been involved in a couple of different groups and masterminds, investor groups and so forth, right? And one of the things is, one of the things that always stood out to me was, even though you may be doing some form of activity, the biggest aspect in business is marketing, right?
True.
Because without leads, you have no clients, right? Without leads, if you have no clients, then you have no profit.
Yep.
Right? Whatever you may be doing, service or selling a product, right? So you need leads, and marketing is something that I love talking about and I love doing and kind of thinking about, and how do we promote either a product or talk about a specific program, especially our rent-to-own program. So, any thoughts on marketing? And then we'll dive deep into like some of the different things that we do and then agents can do and how we can even partner with agents.
Yeah. Marketing's the lifeblood, right? Got to make sure we have the pipeline full.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the other part of marketing is cost. Right? Cost per lead, right? Cost per lead, cost per deal, right? So everything can be attributed to a cost. Now, it doesn't always have to be money, like paid ads,
Yep.
But there is always a cost being time, right?
Yep.
If you're going to do it yourself, and there is a time cost that you're going to have to put into it. So especially in this market, the way that the market has shifted, right? For agents and lenders, as business has shifted, and we've kind of, people are doing less transactions these days. Maybe their budget isn't as big as it was in 2020 and 21 to do marketing, or Zillow leads and any of those kind of third-party lead sources, right? Or Facebook ads or pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click, or anything like that. So you have to get creative about your marketing. How do you do it, right? A lot of it is going to be do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
DIY, right? That's the least expensive method of marketing. And then also maximizing your leads. Because if you're already spending time and money, you might as well maximize those leads, right? When we say maximize this, have we exhausted every opportunity we have with that potential lead, whether especially in our space or as an agent, right? Okay, can they buy? Are they looking to buy? Are they looking to sell? Are they looking to invest? Maybe they're really a renter, right? Maybe they're a renter. Maybe they qualify. Maybe they don't qualify. Maybe potentially it's a rent-to-own client, right? Any of those methods to kind of try to maximize a lead, and not just that specific transaction, but all the people that they know too, right? Referrals. We're talking about referrals, right? So if you're able to close one person and you get them to tell 3 of their friends about that you were able to help them, maybe one of those 3 turns into another lead, and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of a few of the tactics that we employ to market our rent-to-own homes program.
Right?
Yeah. You want to talk about a couple of those, and then I'll kind of fill in on some of the other ones?
Yeah. Well, our network of agents and lenders is kind of our main one, because we're all in the business looking at people.
Yep.
So that's kind of one of the main ones, but there's so many others.
Lead sources, right? So lead sources could be your own, or they could be somebody else's leads, right?
Yeah.
So we know a lot of we know a significant amount of agents have left the industry, right?
Yeah.
But they were working leads, or they had clients that they were trying to work. Maybe some of them didn't close, but they had a pipeline or a CRM of some version that they had, and now those leads aren't being worked.
Yep.
So as an agent, if you're out there and you have agent friends or former coworkers that were in your office that have left the industry, could you reach out to them and say, hey, do you mind if I work your pipeline or your client list? And maybe if there's something comes out of it, maybe we can kind of work out a deal or something. I'll buy you lunch or give you a gift certificate, or I don't know, whatever you could work out, right?
Yeah.
So where you kind of get free leads from people that are left the industry, former coworkers. I post on social media, hey, where are all my friends that have left the industry in real estate and went back to get W-2 jobs or whatever? Like, give me a call. I'll buy you lunch and let's talk. Maybe I can work your leads and so forth, right? That's a free lead source.
Yeah. Yeah. And agents in your office, they're just busy. Maybe they're just hyper focused on luxury or whatever. They just don't want to mess with rent owner. They just don't have time. So just hit them up. Say, hey, can I go through your database and see if I can find those kinds of people? You know, maybe they've tagged, could not qualify or whatever like that. So that's an easy one.
Yep. How about your partners, right? Agents, you have some lender partners, you have other partners, right? You have insurance. Maybe you work with attorneys, divorce attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, credit repair companies.
Yep.
Right? Property managers. Right? If you have property managers in-house, all these people have clients that not only could they be traditional home buyers that they qualify for traditional financing, but a lot of these people could be clients that would fit a rent-to-own home program because they don't qualify for traditional financing for some reason or another. It could be credit. It could be unable to verify their income, right? New job, relocation, divorce, all those reasons, right?
Yeah.
So you have partners, reach out to your lenders and say, hey, you got turn downs? Do you mind if I call some of the turn down clients that we've worked in the past? Right? Because you and I have sent you leads and some of those didn't work, but maybe can you pull a list from the turn downs that people that had money for a down payment, but didn't qualify for some other reason? No, you can call them. I can call them. We can split out the list, right? And kind of work it together, right? How about lenders? Do you have turn down clients for agents that send you leads, but those agents are no longer in the business? They have left the industry. They're gone, right? Somebody's got to work those leads. Give them to me. I'll work them, right?
Yep.
It's a share, and see how you can you're partner up, you're teaming up, right? That's free. That lender wants to send you, wants you to send them leads and clients. Well, maybe they kind of need to reciprocate and say, hey, let's go through the pipeline. You have any leads? But maybe somebody that was turned down, but they have money for a down payment potentially, and let's see what we can make. Make lemonade out of lemons, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. Yeah.
So that's a lead source.
Mm-hmm. I just pulled up. So for those of you that don't know, Dominic and I both teach classes for agents about rent to own. So I just pulled up my slides just as a reference here. So we've already talked about lenders. This is my list of strategic partners. So lenders, agents, credit repair companies, new construction builders. We've talked about this on other shows. You might have a buyer that has a contract with a new construction home and something got missed in underwriting, or they went and screwed something up and added some debt. So we could come in and buy those homes. So
it didn't fit that lender's box, right? Because it's the specific builder's lender, right?
Exactly. Yeah. When they're doing it through that builder. So that's another.
BK attorneys.
Yep.
BK attorneys.
Yep.
Divorce attorneys.
Yep.
Probate attorneys. Insurance companies. Property managers. Right.
Yep. Financial planners.
Yep.
Tax preparers, CPAs.
Tax preparers.
People that are in people's money business, right?
Yeah.
That's,
They're in some kind of financial services business, right? They're preparing tax returns, right? And
Yep.
teaming up with people like that, because, right, this is a relationship business. So the goal here is to partner up with people. You bring value, they bring value to you, right? That's how you partner up. Don't look at it as competition. It's, hey, you do your thing. You're in this lane. That's okay. I'm not in that lane. I am in this lane, but we sort of overlap clientele, and how can we share and help each other?
yeah.
Right. So those are some strategic partners. We talked about people that left the industries being the go-to rent-to-own person in your office, right?
Yeah.
I told the people that showed up to my class today, hey, you took the time to come and see us, come to learn, right? A lot of your other people in your office didn't. Well, how about you become the go-to person as a rent-to-own on the rent-to-owns program? Like, hey, I'll work your clients. You're not calling them. You're not doing anything with them. Let me see if I can, find a potential client for us, and then we can kind of work out a deal amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever that split you want to do it. Right.
Yeah. I like that. Be the go-to. I didn't have that on my list.
Go be the go-to. And then social media marketing.
Yeah.
Right. So social media marketing. Now, I tell people that go to our classes, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Follow us on social media and repurpose what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
We already think of it. We're already constantly posting about it. We're talking about it. Repurpose what we're doing. And then social media lets you share stuff, right? Lets you share to your stories, and then overlay your contact info on top of that. Hey, I just found out about this rent-to-own program. I just went to this class, right? If you've been turned down by your lender, you still want to buy a home, call me, Susie agent or Joe agent at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever your phone number is.
Yep.
Right. And you be the contact person. You have that conversation. You're going to walk. And some of those clients may be traditional buyer clients. They just think that they need rent to own, but they don't know that they do qualify. So you're just going to take them down the same path that you would any other client and say, hey, well, what's your story, right? What's your story? What are you looking for? What makes you think you what makes you interested in rent-to-own homes? Like, I got turned down 3 years ago, and I told I had bad credit then. It's like, okay, well, that was 3 years ago, right? Let's look at your situation now and run through the same path as you would before, whether it's your preferred lender or myself as a lender, and say, hey, this client had this issue back then, but they haven't checked their credit recently, right? So you always want to check, hey, have you applied for home financing in the last 6 months? Anything within 6 months, it's relatively enough new, right? But anything over 6 months is something that should be looked at again, whether it's their credit or their income situation, right? We're halfway through the year. So some business owners have filed extensions, right? They didn't do their 23 taxes at the deadline, right? Most business owners file extensions. I file extensions. Right? And so I don't have my 23 taxes done because I filed an extension.
Yeah.
Right. But some of these people, hey, the deadline is coming up. Maybe they got all the paperwork they needed, and now they file the extension, and now they have their ducks in a row, because for traditional financing, they're going to need 2 years tax returns if they're a business owner.
Right.
Or they're still delaying it for whatever reason, but they still want to buy, right? So could we potentially do something with them? Absolutely.
Yep.
Right? Rent-to-own homes, get them into the home now while they get their ducks in a row, and they'll go get their final financing at the end.
Yep.
So repurpose our marketing. Don't recreate the wheel. We do co-branding, right? We do co-branding with some of our agent partners, and we do co-branding. We're part of the flyer or branding. You do flyers for open houses, right? I'll get into some of the tricks of the trade on the open house stuff.
Yeah.
But co-branding flyers, we put ourselves rent-to-own with our lender or agent partners and colleagues and people that have been through our program, and then their information stuff. And then they send out their flyers or put their flyers at the places that maybe they have friends that own a restaurant or a grocery store or a salon or, nail place or whatever, and they put their flyers in those stores, right, offering their services as agents. But hey, now put rent to own also, because a lot of self-employed and business owners may come in there and they don't realize that, hey, you offer this program.
Yep.
Right. So co-branding, sharing that. Heck, you don't even have to co-brand it. You can just say, hey, I know about a rent to own home. Susie agent, call me, and we can see if we can get you into this program.
Yep.
So co-branding, and then on your listing. So you want to talk about listings if people have listings?
Yeah. So if you have a listing that's a good rent to own property, so what that usually is median price range in a metro area, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just a good cookie cutter home. If it fits that, and you can run it by us, say, hey, is this a good rent to own home? Then when you put that listing out under the financing terms in your MLS, you can select whatever it is in your MLS, like lease purchase, rent to own, owner finance, seller carry, whatever, those kinds of outside the box things that relate to rent to own. Put those in that listing. You're going to get people that can't get qualified for a loan that want to buy. And that's where our rent to own program can come in. We can buy that listing from you and then give those people time so that they can get a loan in the future. So that opens up a lot more people, potential people that could buy that home, basically being us on behalf of those buyers and just the regular folks that can get a loan. And one of the benefits is you're getting, a couple of benefits. You're getting leads for buyers that you normally wouldn't have been talking to. You're also, like I said, bringing a bigger pool of potential buyers to your listing. And that's a selling point for your sellers. So when you go on a listing appointment and you say, hey, your home fits this rent to own model, let's do this. We'll put this in the MLS and get more people coming in. And then if we end up buying it, we're a well-qualified buyer. We're having to put down minimum 20 or 25% on loans. So we're not like barely there and not going to close, right?
Or more.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. Did I miss anything on that?
No, great point. So, so mark your listings. Now, obviously, so if your MLS allows and they have the additional financing options in the financing options section of the MLS, or potentially in the special remarks or in the description, obviously subject to your MLS rules and or your broker, right? We're not your broker. We're not your MLS, but that's the stuff that we do. And have that discussion with your broker if for whatever reason you feel like you might get in trouble. But clearly those boxes are available for a reason, right? They didn't just start this year, right? They've been around forever. It's just that in the last 10 years, people haven't had to use it because everything has been a traditional sale in an up market, right?
Yep.
We've had low rates. We've had low rates almost going 15 years now.
Yep.
Right? Now with the up market, you have to open up the options for more buyers. That's just the reality of it, right?
Yep.
So this is a way to kind of create more leads and open up the buyer pool.
Yeah. One word of warning and opportunity. You're going to get calls from investors looking for creative deals where, they may not have to go get financing. So you're going to get those calls, but that's okay. Those could be good clients for you to work with on the investor side. So don't snap at them. They may be good contacts. So.
Yeah. So the way that I work it here is I tell agents, hey, if you put it on there and you have an investor asking about it, tell them call Dom. I tell them send them my way because I talk to investors all day long. We're investors, so I know the language, and I can have a conversation with them and say, hey, this is how this would work for this particular property if you're interested. Now, some of the investors are looking for, hey, no money down, zero interest, and I don't know, a 100-year loan or whatever, $1 a month payment, right? So obviously, I can have those frank discussions with those agents. They are looking for the unicorn seller that absolutely has to sell, right? Well, clearly for us, we don't have to sell because we don't even own the property yet. But can we work out a terms agreement with the investor agent once we buy it? Sure. If it makes sense for us and it makes sense for them, then potentially we could, right? So you don't have to be afraid of investors. As a matter of fact, if you're an agent and you don't work with investors, you need to learn how, right? You're missing out on some opportunity there, right? Because a lot of investors will buy on market, and investors generally going to have some money, right? You're not scraping the bottom of the barrel with people that don't have money.
Yeah.
So that's a different clientele, and it takes a little bit of learning and what they want and how that works. But if you're not working with investors, you should, right? Especially in this market with things, people aren't doing as much business as it is, right? But the investors are still buying. They're still looking for properties, right? They're still looking for deals. And sometimes it doesn't mean deal as in like cheap, right? As a deal as in like, hey, maybe I'll pay your price, right? I'll pay retail. I'll even pay over retail sometimes, right? If you give me my terms, right? So now you don't have to be the expert on terms. We handle that. So and your seller doesn't have to be the one that wants to. Now they want to sell on terms. That's another option too, right?
Yep.
Open it up. Maybe learn how do I get my seller to agree to sell on terms or be open to selling on terms. Maybe that's a discussion that you should have with your broker. Say, hey, broker, what's a class? Is there a class that I can teach on? You can teach me on this, or somebody I can go to that knows how to do that, because I may have a client. Or how do I talk to my client to sell on seller financing, right? Or seller carryback, or assume a loan if they have a low rate, right? Learn how to do those strategies, stuff that's outside the box. And if you don't know know that talk track, or you have nobody to go to, come to us. As a matter of fact, I had this discussion with an agent yesterday. They called me. Somebody had gone to our presentation a year back. And he's got a client that's got a pretty cheap interest rate on this house, right? So I think the house is like, he's selling for $400. He owes $200. He's got like 3.25% interest on that $200,000 balance, but they have $200,000 equity. So he's trying to figure out, well, how could I sell it? It's like, well, it's a couple of ways, right? If it's an assumable loan, the person assuming the loan has to come up with that equity difference.
Yep.
Right. So when you see these posts out on social media, that's the fine print they're not telling you, because if they're going to assume it, the person that going through the assumable process, which is the servicer that holds that loan, is going to qualify them. But they're going to want that buyer has to have that equity difference in capital put down. Right. So they'll have to put down that $200,000 difference and assume the rest. They won't get financing for that gap in equity. They have to have it. No lender lends on that gap in equity. So that is a problem when assuming a loan. If the balance to the price is pretty close, then that's easier because there's less money that has to come in. But if somebody's paid it down a whole lot, there's a big gap. Most people don't have that kind of money to put down and just assume it. Right. But people are marketing that and kind of not really explaining that to people and telling them, hey, you can assume, but there's a gap of 200,000, so you better have 200,000 because the assumable ain't going to get approved if you don't have that money. Yeah. Now, could you get it from a family member as a gift? Yeah. Or it has to be your own funds, but no lender's going to lend on that equity and the assumable or the servicer that's approving or reviewing the assumption isn't going to approve for you to borrow money for that. You got to have it. But that is an option, and if you and if you learn it, that's potentially a way to market your property. So, anyways, I had this conversation with this agent about that. Kind of walk them through that process and say, hey, but somebody's going to have to come up with that equity, because he was thinking, well, maybe I'll buy it. It's like, well, if you have the money, for the equity, you probably could, right? But he didn't have the 200,000, so he thought, oh, can you guys lend on it? Like, no, we can't lend on that. There's no, and so even if we could, the assumption company won't approve that loan. It has to be your own funds. It can't be borrowed funds. Anyways, that's a whole different topic. But getting in talking about investors, right? Talking to investors, and when you place seller financing or seller carryback or lease option, lease purchase, all these options on the MLS on your financing options, you may get some investors calling you because they're interested in those kind of deals. And then if you don't know how to have that talk track, then refer them to us. We'll talk to them, or talk to us, and kind of we'll teach you how to have these conversations. But yeah, it just opens up the pool for more people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm looking to build my team along the Front Range in Colorado. So if anybody wants to dive into that stuff, let's have a conversation about that.
Yeah, learning some of these other methods is important. If you're just stuck on doing just the traditional buyer, traditional transaction, it's going to be very difficult if we stay where the market is with rates where they are. Right, gotta add some tools to your tool belt.
Yeah. And we do this in other states too. So if any agents are looking to learn this stuff, we can build our team out. And we don't even have to be on the same team, but it helps to be,
yeah,
step for sure. So
absolutely. Yeah. And then for markets that we're not currently in, we'd be more than happy to start rent to owns in those markets. We just need boots on the ground, and obviously people that we can work with that kind of understand the program, how to market it, and kind of work jointly with that. And we're going to need people that represent us as buyers, right? In those markets where we're not in, where we're not physically in.
Right.
We're not physically in, because we're in other markets that we're not physically in, because we can, like James said, we can do it. We're up to 10 states. So, and then the other states, we could potentially do it. It's just a few little tweaks here and there, and then having the right people to work with that kind of can be our boots on the ground. So that's a way to kind of partner up and learn and generate more business.
Yeah. Dom, you lend in California, right?
We do. Yep. So I am licensed in California, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Minnesota, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, North and South Carolina, New Jersey, Illinois, and the state of Washington.
Cool. I might have a lead for you in California. Just got a call from somebody. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of out of our presentations, one of the agents said, "Hey, I may have somebody in Nevada, right? That could be a fit for this." So
cool.
Yeah.
This gal may just be able to get a loan. May not need a tone, but
cool.
Kind of dig in and see.
Yeah. So and then on the ones that we're not in yet, we could easily roll out something in like 45 to 60 days. So, right, we want to work in metros generally, but if it's something that's in a smaller market, let's have a discussion, right? I mean, there's financing available in smaller markets too. It's just who the population pool is, right?
Yeah.
And then you addressed, I think we addressed what types of loans, or if you have a house that could be in the medium price range, right? And obviously whatever your median is in your market, right? But technically we could go up to property that meets the conforming loan limit. Right now, the conforming loan limit is $756,000. So even up to that price range per se. Right. Yeah. So yeah, the general population, or more people are going to want to buy in the medium price range. Let's say the medium price range is 400, but the conforming loan limit is 756. If you're an agent, you have a property that's 600,000, 650. That doesn't keep you from still offering that option, right? It's going to just take the right buyer that's going to have the money or the down payment to afford that house, right? So if there's somebody that can afford that house and has the skin in the game for it, then we would definitely do it.
Yeah.
So don't think as rent to own, it has to be cheap houses per se, people. So we're in the pretty house business, as they say. right? We're buying on market, has to pass inspection, has to appraise, has to be move-in ready, right? Now, it doesn't have to be HGTV ready, right? But it has to be able to kind of pass the lender appraisal and requirements for the traditional loan programs.
Yep. Habitable. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see what else. Looking at my list, I just added this. Add it to your newsletter. If you got an e-newsletter, you send out a paper one. Add that. I don't have it in mine. I'm like, why don't I add that in there? 'Cause my newsletter is mostly going out to regular buyers and sellers, but why didn't I think about this?
Yeah, so go through your pipelines the last 24 to 36 months. If you've been in this business, you probably have some clients in there that could fit this, right? Reach out to them. Or you can send out an email blast to your database and say, hey, I just found out about this rent-to-own home program. If we talked and you got turned down because of some lender issues or low credit or poor credit, but you still have money and you still want to buy a home, reach out to me. Let's schedule an appointment to kind of talk about your situation and see if this is a fit, right? Yep. So that email blast or a text blast, however you're marketing, however you're doing your CRM file.
Nope.
And so forth.
Nope.
And on your social media as well, right? Whether you're just doing posting or on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're doing, TikTok, talk about it and say, hey, you've been turned down? I may have an option for you. Give me a call. Let's talk.
Yep. Another thing, we could do something like this, just a conversation between us and you talking about rent-to-own programs, blast that all over social media. Put money.
Yeah, absolutely. We could bring you on. If you have an audience, we can do a live through StreamYard or your YouTube channel or on any of the platforms. We could either bring you on or, hey, if you have an audience and we can meet up somewhere or we can kind of link it through YouTube or in StreamYard or pre-record something, and then you can kind of, hey, conversation about rent-to-own program, send it out to my audience, right? It could be live, it could be recorded, and then you could use content and shorts and repurpose all of that. We'll let you come on and ask us all the questions you want, or if we're going live and you have an audience, we'll let them ask the questions live. We'll talk about the program, how it works, and then let them ask questions and see if somebody out there is a fit. If you have a decent enough audience, all right, we can do that.
Yep.
We got to do more of those. More people need to take us up on that because I've done a couple, but not enough people kind of take us up on that. It's like free marketing, right? It just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, leading the horse to water.
Yep. Yeah. Any other ones that you can think of?
Let's see. Let me go through my list here.
Oh, open houses. Open houses, right? So you're doing your traditional open house sign and whatnot. We do bandit signs. Easy rent to own. Easy qualifying rent to own. With the arrow pointing to your property or the address of your property, right? Yep. Easy qualify, rent to own, right? Bad credit, okay, right? With a good job and a good down payment, you can get a home today.
Yep.
Right? No banks required. So if you do bandit signs, hell, you don't even need to have a property. You just do bandit signs for that. Call me, Susie Lender at 12345 or Susie Agent or Joe Agent, right? If you're interested, and then that's free leads right there. Bandit signs are cheap. Put them around town, put them around the area where you work, obviously where you're allowed to, right? Mostly public places, public areas.
Yeah. What are your rules in Arizona for that?
Say what?
What are your rules in Arizona for that?
There are no rules.
That's nice. We do have rules. People still do bandit signs.
Yeah, people still do bandit signs, right? It is no different than open house signs where you're putting them around town, right? Or around the corner or around the block or wherever it may be, or put them in front of the Walmart or the grocery stores or the Home Depot or the Lowe's, right? So we generally put them out there, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depots, places that get a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes they take them down. It isn't like they owe us that they got to keep them up, right? Sometimes they take them down. Sometimes somebody takes them home. I don't know, right? They take them down, they go home, and we just put them back up, right? That's why they're called bandit signs, and they're cheap signs, right? Put them up, and it's a lead magnet, lead source. Have a conversation with somebody, and see if they're a fit, or they could end up being a traditional buyer.
Yeah.
Right. So not free, but inexpensive lead generation.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you have an open house, great. Point them towards that house. They come to the house like, yeah, you got a rent-to-own program? Yeah, potentially. Yeah, this could be. What's your situation? How come you don't qualify? Talk to my lender. Oh, yeah, they do qualify. Okay, now you buy the house, right? Or no, you don't qualify. Okay, well, what's your situation? You know, maybe you could be a rent-to-own. Right? We have a program. We can reach out to them and see how that works, and maybe you can buy or you can qualify and get approved for this property.
Yep.
So,
man, here in Castle Rock, where I am, they actually recently voted no open house signs except for one on the property. You can't even put one down the block on the corner. It's insanity.
Yeah, I won't.
So frustrating. I'm moving though. I won't have to worry about it. So that's crazy.
Hey, here's the reality, right? Entrepreneurs are good at being creative. If you're going to think inside the box constantly as an agent, you're not going to make a whole lot of money. You got to hustle. It's a hustle business, right? You got to get creative. Okay, so Castle Rock doesn't let you do. Well, are the towns next to them have the same rule? No. So what keeps anybody from putting bandit signs in another? Yeah, the house may be in Castle Rock, but it's like, but so what? I could put the bandit signs in the town next over. Say, yeah, this house is in Castle Rock. Come check it out. Or maybe we could find you one in that town. Right? I mean, figure it out. It's not, we're not restricted by, I think it was, what's the term, right? You don't need all the resources. You just need to be resourceful.
Exactly.
Right? Being resourceful. Right? So don't be constrained by your own limitations.
Yep.
Right? So getting around people like us kind of helps us with that, because we've kind of been through that stuff, right? It's like thinking outside the box, getting creative, right? All of that. We're kind of geared towards that mentally, right? And that's the fun aspect of this business. For me, it is, right?
Yeah.
I love that aspect of it. How can we solve a problem? It's a puzzle we're trying to solve. How do we solve it? Right? How do we make it better? How do we improve it? How do we come up with a solution? Right? Yeah. Sometimes the shortest path may be a straight line, but sometimes you kind of have to go around a little bit and then get to the same destination.
Yeah. It's I was a graphic designer for years in that creative industry. I came to real estate. I thought, oh, this is going to be just boring numbers. Nope. It's a people business, which is cool. And it's super creative. And just this show every week, I just added 3 things just to my list of stuff for the class for marketing, just through going back and
brainstorming, right? Brainstorming and bouncing stuff. And I'm constantly learning too, right? So I don't have all the answers, but I'm constantly learning. And, as our growth path, whether it's, us working together or, hey, we're part of different groups, investor groups, different mastermind agent groups, lender groups, marketing groups, right? I tell you, in the investor world, or people that are doing direct to sell marketing, it's like, you're not a wholesaler or a flipper. You're in the marketing business, right? Because you're trying to generate potential sellers, right? Yep. Or buyers, whatever it is you're trying to generate, right? You're in the marketing business. So get used to that, right? Yep. Think like that. Think like a marketer. So, and I'm constantly learning. I mean, I know you do the same. Like, you listen to podcasts, different business owners, people that are getting, talking about business, whether it's in the real estate space or any other space, right? Like ideas. Right? It's like, oh, that's a pretty cool one. Let me jot that down. Maybe I can implement that. I've taken stuff from a bunch of people. Yeah. I take stuff from a bunch of people. So I don't have all the answers. I'm constantly learning as well. Right. So I'm more than happy to share it with people. Right. I share it on my presentations and whatnot. and people are like, oh, that's a great one. Oh, that's a great one, right? It's kind of thinking outside the box and being around those people like that, right? So that's what it takes.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the fun aspect of this business for me anyways. And I know you feel the same way about it, because we can kind of talk about this stuff all day.
Yep, totally. We go 40 minutes like every week.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes already, right? On marketing. Yeah.
It's always like, oh, we could probably spit that out in 5 minutes. Well, no, there's a lot to this. Every separate topic. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Any final closing thoughts, since we are at 40 minutes, right? I think I shared most of everything that I kind of typically talk about. They talked about bandit signs. I mean, I'm really liking the bandit signs, because it generates calls and people that are interested. And these are people that are saying, hey, I want to buy a house, right? It's not like you're getting calls from people that are looking to, I don't know, to buy a car, right?
Yeah.
Right? It says rent to own home, right? Easy qualifying. That means you want to buy a house. So these are people that are raising their hands. These aren't cold leads, right? Cold leads would be just picking up the phone book, if people were still use the phone book, and dialing numbers and dialing people, right? It's like, well, what are you calling me for? No, I don't want to buy a house. Did I say I want to buy a house? Right? No. Okay. But these people are raising their hands and say, yeah, I'm interested in housing. Somehow, some way, I want to get into one. I don't have one. I rent now, right? How can I make this work? How can I make it happen, right? And even if they can't do it today, that's an additional lead in your pipeline.
Yeah.
Right? That you can drip campaign and source and keep working on those.
Yep.
Right? So free leads, or almost free leads, cheap leads anyways.
Yeah.
Right? In your own neighborhood, right? You don't have to pay for ads or pay-per-click or, all the fancy stuff. You have the capacity and money for that budget-wise, sure, knock yourself out. But hey, if you're a newer agent or you're struggling and you don't have your big budget, that's simple enough. You can just bandit signs, write it out. You don't have to send it to a print shop, nothing. Take a magic marker and write it out and put it on both sides, right? We do Spanish and English. One side English, do the other side in Spanish, because there's a mix of different clientele depending on where you're located, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm really loving that. And then for our open houses, we do co-marketing with some agents that say, hey, I had this listing and I'm going on 90 days here. It ain't getting moved, right? But I know about your rent-to-own program, right? It's like, okay, how about let's do the bandit signs for rent-to-own, and that'll generate leads. I understand your seller doesn't want to do rent-to-own, but we'll step in as the buyer. We'll buy the house if we find the right person for this property.
Yeah.
Right? How about that? Right? So co-partner on rent-to-own homes with us, and we'll help you market it or show you how to market it. And then if we find the right person or the right person comes along, then you send that person to us, and we'll say, yep, they qualify. We'll buy the house.
Yep.
Right?
Great.
Co-marketing. Right?
Yeah.
Co-open house. Right? Or heck, if you're an agent and you don't have any listings, but say you have somebody in your office that has 4 listings, they can't do 4 open houses all at once, right? They share on the open house. Hey, who wants to do an open house on my property? Cool. Raise your hand and say, hey, I'll do an open house. You can do the traditional, or if you get creative, say, hey, I'm going to do the open house, but I'm also going to do rent to own bandit signs. We have the, have you seen the open house flags that people put on the front yards, the big flags?
Yep.
Well, we have a rent to own flags. Right? So we buy rent to own flags. We have rent to own flags with our number, and we put those on the yard.
Yeah. Along
with the open house.
Why haven't I been doing that? Damn it!
Exactly.
I've been doing open houses. I haven't been doing that.
Yeah. Rent to own bandit sign or flags. Right, and that'll draw people.
Yep.
Right. We get a lot of walk-ins. That aren't working with agents because of that. And then now you have a conversation. Hey, yeah, what's your story? Why don't you qualify? What are you looking for? Right. And they could be traditional buyers and or rent to owns. Like, okay, you rent to own. What do you need rent? Why do you think you need rent to own? What drew you to that? And they're usually going to tell you.
Yeah.
Or you have that conversation, right? So it's about more conversations you have. It ends up being a numbers game, right?
Yep.
So, anyway, so yeah, there you go. That's a That's a six-figure tip right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So thinking outside the box, guys. Anyways, any final thoughts, James?
Nope, I'm tapped out.
Cool. Yeah, my voice is going too because I talked for 2 hours earlier today as well.
Oh.
And it is hot and dry out here. So, right, we're getting to the middle of the summer. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of middle of the summer, we will be off next week, 4th of July. So 4th of July falls on a Thursday. I'll be out of town on vacation on the East. I'll be on the East Coast for 4th of July. So we will be back in 2 weeks for our next live, and we'll see what new topics we can bring to the table. If people want to get a hold of you, James, how can they do that?
Go to realhomesolutions.org or hit my link tree there. If you're watching this on video, linktree/partner with James Brown.
Cool. And if you want to get a hold of us or you want to check out more about or get more information about our program, go to our website at MisterRentToOwnHomesUS.com. It's on the banner on our live here, and get some more information. You can register on there if you're interested. Watch the little explainer video that's on the homepage. How it kind of walks you through a little bit of that, and then we can even schedule a time to talk. Or if you want to get a hold of me, DM me. I am on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at MisterRentToOwnHomes on all those platforms, and information in my bio description on my YouTube channel and any of these other platforms too. Or you can look me up on Facebook. I am Dominic Danino, aka Mr. Rent to Own Homes. And that is all for today. Thank you all for joining us. Until 2 weeks from today. See you then. Bye-bye.